Yo, what's up? What's good, everybody? Welcome back. It's been a while, like a
It's
minute.
been a long while.
It's been like what, 4 or 5 weeks since we last recorded and uploaded an
Something like
episode.
that. I don't remember.
Just been busy with like work and school and all that, and just haven't gotten the chance to, get back to the pod. So we're back. Let's get this started. It's almost the end of the season here, the regular season. The playoffs about to begin. Aiden, kind of just kick us off here real quick.
All right, so yeah, I was gonna talk about a lot of the stuff that had happened while we were gone, but that was literally like everything in the entire NBA. So the things that have happened in the last week, we'll just jump right back in. Westbrook's triple double record. I was listening to a podcast, the House of Highlights one through the wire. And they had kind of talked about the Russell Westbrook. Obviously, it's amazing. 182 triple doubles in his career. I think it was something like 37 or 40 years that Oscar Robertson had held the record at 181. And it was almost viewed as like the untouchable record. And then what the guy had said on the podcast was, yeah, it's going to be another record that's not touched for almost forever. But then one of the guys said, like, if you look at the way that the NBA has changed in terms of like triple doubles used to be something that was like special, like it was a special thing. Yeah, and now it's something that happens on a nightly basis. Do you think that record? How long would you project that record's like? Do you think it'll be a long-lasting record or no?
It won't be
Because
as long
you don't
as
think it'll be as the last time?
as long as the last time. I don't think so. No.
Because if you like Russell Westbrook could for sure put up like he's at 182. If he does this for like 2 more seasons, he could probably get like near like 250 like triple doubles for his career. Because I was looking at a stat for Westbrook in his first like 6 seasons, he has like 10 triple doubles. It's in the last like 10 years that he's gotten like 15, 30, 25, 25 all over. But like, what about like a guy like Luka Doncic, who in his first and second year, he's got like I think he's got like 30 already.
Doesn't he have the most triple doubles like at a certain age? Isn't that a statistic I saw? I feel like.
Yeah, at like a certain age. Because I was thinking like Westbrook's like a different breed. Like he's doing stuff we've never seen. Like he's the biggest stat like filler of all time. But like in his first 6 seasons, he never did that. While Luka Doncic is doing it. It just
Already.
depends because like Doncic, it's impressive that he's doing like 10 as a rookie, while Westbrook did like one. But like I don't know if Doncic will ever get to a point where he's literally doing like 40 triple doubles a year. And it'll be interesting to see how long Westbrook keeps that going. But yeah, that guy was not looking very good at the beginning of the season, but the Wizards have pulled it together. So
Yeah.
shout out to him. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Shout out to Bradley Beal too, his injury. You see that?
Yeah. The tweet.
Yeah, the tweet that I saw with him and Kent Bazemore going back at it, back and forth.
Yeah.
That was, I don't know, it's a little disrespectful from Kent Bazemore, but it was funny. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Well, that was a perfect segue though, because I was just going to talk about the other guy, the other top scorer, Steph Curry. His three-pointing tear has honestly been one of the most scariest things I've ever seen in my life. Like the amount of threes that he's hitting. I saw a stat. It was like in the month of April or something. He hit more threes on his own than like 6 teams had like as a whole. Like each team, he had more than them as by himself.
Yeah, he's basically
Like
carrying the Warriors right now.
Not basically, he is carrying.
No, he is, but I mean, like, it's pretty unbelievable. Like, Damian Lillard even said it. He's the greatest shooter of all time. And like a comment like that to come from Damian Lillard,
who arguably is one of the best,
who literally said he's like, oh yeah, I'm top 5 best shooters of all time, and he's giving that to like Steph Curry, giving that kind of respect. It's crazy. Like,
yeah, I feel like I owe Curry an apology, bro. Because like at the beginning of the season, not that it was disrespectful, but I called Damian Lillard the best point guard in the league because we hadn't seen Curry be the first option since KD joined them, and he went down with his injury. And the year that he came back, that the Warriors, it was last year. And then 15 games in the season, he went down with a broken wrist. He didn't even look good before that. So I was like, I don't know, man. But he's definitely taken that back. I love Damian Lillard, but Curry's been like ungodly.
Now here's a question. It's Curry related, but on a slightly different note. Could you see him leaving Golden State this upcoming year?
No.
Like, do you think he will leave or no?
As a very Lakers biased fan, Lakers has been the one that everyone's tying together. Like that All-Star weekend was one of the best weekends of my life. Just all the Curry and LeBron posts. I was like,
Yep.
oh, come on, Curry. The only way he could do it, and I know people saying like his loyalty to the Golden State Warriors and their love for him, he would never leave it. I don't believe it's that. Honestly, he loves the Warriors and everything, and the Warriors fans love him. They're like, oh, if Curry left, like they would burn the city down. I honestly think that if Klay Thompson wasn't there and they were this bad, Warriors fans love him so much that they'd be okay and they'd understand if he left.
Yeah.
If he was just putting up 35 a night just to be an 8 seed, but his loyalty goes like not just as domination, but his loyalty to his brother Klay. Like you can't just abandon Klay there by himself. If it wasn't for Klay, I think he maybe considers it, but those two are too tight. And especially without like it'd be another thing if Klay came back this season and they still sucked. But like you've missed 2 more seasons, at least give it like 1 more year with Klay to see what you guys look like still. But I don't think there's any way he leaves. I think he's a Warriors for lifer.
Yep. Franchise player forever.
Yeah. But
it's not like Keith's got a ton of years left.
It's hold 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, but like I'm
probably
not
honestly probably more than that.
More?
He's the type of guy who can play like how good of a shooter he is, bro.
Kind of like
as long as he doesn't get hurt type idea.
Yeah.
What's
He
his
doesn't have to
name?
be like a focal point, but he
Like
can
a
be like
Kyle
a guy
Korver who just plays on every team,
Yeah.
just shoots threes.
Like I think he could age like a Tom Brady type of thing, where he's just like,
Whoa,
what I'm saying?
whoa, that's a little much.
He said
Tom Brady's
age like a Tom
trash.
Brady.
Yeah, but don't even compare anybody to Tom Brady. He's the GOAT.
Oh my word.
Curry's the GOAT. I'm just kidding.
Curry's the GOAT. Okay.
This
Okay,
is
so
an
you guys-
NBA
Okay, so
podcast,
speaking
Samuel.
of Stephen Curry and the Warriors, if the Warriors play right now, as the standings are, the Warriors play the Lakers. Does Stephen Curry have a chance against a LeBron and AD stacked
No.
Warriors Lakers team?
I go so far. I go so far.
Yes.
Well, hang on, real quick. I go so far. I'll say no, and then we'll hear you. I'd say no because even without LeBron and AD, the Warriors do not have enough options to take on a Lakers. Even if let's say AD and LeBron are still hurt or they're not in, like in some scenario they're not playing, I still think that they could probably beat the Warriors. Curry alone, even if he drops 50, like it, I just don't think so.
All right, so here's my answer. If you were asking me, the Lakers are a 1 seed, the Warriors are an 8 seed. We're playing a 7-game series. Warriors aren't touching us.
No,
But it's 1 game.
it's
Anyone
one game.
can beat anyone in a single night. I'm looking at the standings. You put the Lakers up against the Rockets, who are playing tomorrow night. Like, bro, Kevin Porter Jr. could drop 50 on our head and win a game. It's 1 game. So and especially with Curry, like, bro, Curry can drop 60. Like, genuine, he can drop 60 any night, and it can happen. So they have a chance, and the fact that we're not gonna, I don't think at that point we're gonna be fully healthy 100% yet. Hopefully LeBron's coming back. He's coming back tomorrow night. AD has been looking unreal lately. They can beat us. I don't think they will, but what if we get beaten, it will hurt because social media will be abusing Lakers fans, calling Curry LeBron's dad. That would hurt my heart. But I would rather play the loser. I would take the chance. I told this to my friend Steve the other day, Steve and Mike. If I was the Lakers, I would legitimately lose that game on purpose and risk the chance of having a one and done game versus the Grizzlies or the Spurs in order to be the 8th seed and risk our entire season to play the Jazz instead of playing the Suns. Like the Suns are like that. I'm not scared of Rudy Gobert in the postseason. I'm scared of Chris Paul in the postseason.
Chris Paul and Devin Booker in the postseason.
Yeah, I do. Oh man, I want to be the 8th seed so bad, but I think we're gonna be the 7th seed. I don't see us losing to the Warriors. The first time we played them fully healthy, we were up 20 at halftime and we choked it away and lost. The other 2 times without AD, we beat them by 25.
Yeah,
like no one can stop. No one. Like, I don't know.
That's the thing. The Lakers have a high probability of winning that game, but it's just 1 game. So yeah, the Warriors could definitely pull it off. But
And
you're
I
saying
was
you'd rather
crying.
you're saying you'd almost rather lose the first game, win the second game.
Yeah. The only problem is if you lose
just so
the
that
first
you
game,
don't play the Suns.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can beat the Suns. Genuinely, I'm not. Bro, did you see that we played them the other day without LeBron and beat them?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm
Like, bro,
saying.
our
Like, why are you
defense is
scared to
nice.
play the Suns, bro?
I'm not. The Suns would take us to 6 or 7. The
Yeah.
Jazz, we might legit beat in 5. I would have no doubt that the
Well,
Lakers would beat the Jazz. I have doubts that the Suns could get it done,
is Donovan
depending on
Mitchell
our
out
health.
too?
Donovan
Donovan
Mitchell's-
Mitchell's out, right?
He should be coming back though.
He should be. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about the Jazz. The Suns, I still think we would beat the Suns, but yeah, the only problem is if you lose that first game, there's no safety net. Like that first playing
Yeah.
game, it's important. But there's a safety net. No safety net. Like John Morant's nice with it. Like DeMar DeRozan, he could get going. It just you never know what can happen in one game situation.
Here's the crazy thing. These are just the standings right now. The standings could change like in the next week.
You know,
like, just-
LeBron's gonna
Eh,
You don't
lose
think
it.
so?
No, because the Jazz are
The
it's
Jazz?
possible. The Jazz have
That's
3 games left.
3 and
The
4.
Suns,
The Clippers and the Nuggets could flip flop, and the Blazers and the Mavericks could flip flop as well.
the Blazers won't.
You
The,
know,
the Blazers have been hot lately, but they have the toughest remaining schedule left. Like they have 4 really tough games. The Mavericks have, I'm pretty sure, the 5th easiest path left. I genuinely think it's locked in where we're gonna get it. Jazz will be the 1, Suns 2, Clippers 3, and I'm honestly glad we fell to 7 because although the Suns have been the best team all season, in my opinion, I think they've been better than the Jazz. But I would rather play the Suns first round than the Clippers, if I'm just being honest. Like I think the
Yeah.
Blazers moved up to play the Clippers, and that's almost, it was tough on them.
I,
I think I don't know.
that's
I'm
gonna be
sorry,
tough for the Blazers.
I think the Clippers have the
Who's
most.
guarding
to-
Paul George? Who's my dad's coming in. We're recording.
Podcast.
Anyways, we're talking about the Blazers.
Dude, I feel bad for the Blazers, man. I feel like that Western Conference Finals run or whatever. I thought that was like the start of them being like a perennial top 3 seed in the West, and it just like the Suns sucked out of nowhere, way better than them. Jazz out of
Yep.
nowhere, better than them.
Yep.
I think the Blazers could beat the Jazz in the playoffs. I'm sorry, I'm no longer buying the Jazz's hype. I don't think I'm doing anymore. But like the Trailblazers, I don't think they could beat the Clippers, but man, that's gonna be such a good series. I'm really praying that it stays Clippers Blazers because you remember the bubble last year. They
Yeah.
played each other. They missed the 2 clutch free throws. They were like, "Oh, have fun in Cancun."
Yep.
And then he tweeted back at them when they blew it, and they were like, we got another spot for you. I was like, that'll be such a good series. But I'm
The
glad the
Clippers-
Lakers avoided the first round.
The Clippers definitely have the biggest chip on their shoulders because with the players that they have, they're not getting near enough the press that
Yeah.
they did last year. Like they were hyped up as the next best thing since sliced bread last year, and then they totally flopped in the bubble. So I would have the Clippers as a dark horse of some sort. Like I do
so
believe it.
if
Go
they're
ahead.
your dark horse, who would you say your favorite in the West is? Because
My
I think I don't know. If I were to pick a team right now, just based on how unhealthy the Lakers are and how everything that could go wrong in their season has went wrong, I'm saying the Clippers probably have the best chance to make it
Are the
out.
favorite.
Who
Yeah,
do you think?
yeah, that's probably true. It's a close one between them and the Suns because I do have a lot of faith in Chris Paul's leadership with them and just the success that they have. And he's hungry for a title. So
Clippers are like they're honestly maybe like that's probably the best way to put it. They might be the favorites in the West, but they're also maybe the dark horse because no one talks about them.
yeah,
But they might have the easiest path. Like the Suns, like I know I'm sorry for the Jazz fans disrespecting them.
I
like-
think you're over disrespecting them a little bit.
So you could see the Jazz. You know what? The Jazz might mess around and make the conference finals, but just know that in the finals they're getting like because they would play like let's say the Warriors first round. First of all, 1 versus 8 seed almost never an upset. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that the Warriors, if Curry goes off, bro, they could take him to 6 or 7 for
Yeah.
sure.
But they still pull
And
it
then
off.
and then the 4 versus 5, the Mavericks and the Nuggets, I think I don't want to be disrespectful to them, but I think it's a weak 4 versus 5
Yeah.
because the Denver Nuggets are missing Jamal. Mavericks are cool, but like Porzingis can't stay healthy. Like the Nuggets and Mavs both missing their second pieces.
Yeah.
Like so it's like the Jazz could go through, beat the Warriors, and then beat the Mavericks or Nuggets and be in the conference finals. But then if you look at the other side of the bracket in the West, it'll be Suns versus Lakers, Blazers versus Clippers. Those four, the Suns, Clippers, Blazers, and Lakers on one side, and then the Jazz, the Warriors, Nuggets, and Mavericks. Like it's going to be so loaded on one side of the
Yeah.
bracket.
It's going to be a fun first round of playoffs, though.
Yeah. I
Just
would
the
say,
way
Mike,
that
the easiest team to pick coming out of the West is probably got to be the Clippers, though. Because if you even think about the Suns, Suns or Clippers is the easiest team to pick.
Yeah.
You can't really say the Lakers because of how unhealthy they are.
Yep.
But if you think that the Suns, the probabilities that they played the Lakers first round, and so I feel Clippers, it's easier to say that they probably make it to the finals. And like, dude,
So
they got a
if
nice
Lakers
team. Like, they have a
play the
nice
Suns,
team.
you got their money on the Suns. Is that what
Me?
you're saying? Lakers
No,
play the
I'm
Suns.
saying I'm taking the Lakers in that series.
That's
But I'm saying
without bias. Is that
without
like
bias.
without
Yeah.
bias? Say it with a
I
straight
could
face.
no without without bias. If you ask me, could I see the Suns beating us? 100%.
For sure.
Do I think that we would actually beat them? Yeah. But it's really situational, like depending on how healthy LeBron is, what he looks like, if Dennis Schroeder comes back from COVID, if he's the same. Like we have the pieces to beat them. The inexperience kind of like scares me for the Suns. I really like them, and I told my friends, I'm like, bro, if the Lakers end up sucking, and I'm bandwagoning with the Suns,
Yeah.
like Chris Paul, he needs to get his flowers. I've been saying this. Devin Booker's been so disrespected. People saying like Zach LaVine's better than him. I'm like, stop it. Like Devin Booker is so cold. Yeah, you're one of them. But like Devin Booker, the Suns, and there's such a good story. Like the 8-0 in the bubble last year, didn't even get to make the playoffs.
Nope.
Everyone felt hard done by. Then they come in, are way better than expected. The Chris Paul effect, and then you just watch them. They're just dudes that play a role. Like Cameron Payne, bro, he didn't even have a job last summer. They called him up to the bubble. They went 8-0. Last couple nights ago, he dropped 22 on the Lakers in a loss. But I'm like, bro, they're just so team oriented. It's just so fun to watch them. So I hope they do well. But if we're playing them first round, like, enjoy combo.
So now that we've gone to the basically the end of the season and seeing how the NBA season this year has played out, like, what do you think about, tons of games in a short amount of time, how the playoffs are set up now? I know LeBron's been kind of given smack or whatever about the way the playoffs are set now that they've fallen to the 7th seed. He didn't say nothing about the play-in games. But now that they're, at that point,
now,
what's
as non-biased as I can, because obviously you guys are pro LeBron and I'm anti LeBron. I would agree with what he says, but I don't like the fact that he changed his tune due to the fact that that's him in that position. I do personally think it's like you keep the 8 spots. You guys work hard all season. If you make it into those 8 spots there, like he is right. Like literally an entire season of grinding to get into those top 8 spots for the 7th and 8th seed could turn into a 1-game situation that you blow. Literally like a whole season of, okay, we got to a position where we can go to the playoffs only to be decided by 2 games. Like that
so
is
has this season been kind of just a drag in some ways? Just a
it sucks with the COVID protocol. It sucks with the COVID protocol, but I really actually like the format of the play-in for this year. The only problem is for me, I find that the top 7 teams in the conference should be locked in. It should only be the 8th seed that plays.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, the Jazz, Suns, Clippers, Nuggets, Trailblazers, Lakers, those are the teams that are legit. The Warriors, although they're cool, they're not very good this season. So that's the line. If you go to the other side, the Eastern Conference, there's the 76ers, Nets, Bucks, Knicks, Hawks, Heat, and Celtics. Then once again, there's a line. Hornets, Pacers, whatever. There's a top 7 teams on both sides that are legit good playoff teams. The next line is the 8 and 9, where it's like, I don't know. So I think as a 7 seed, you should not have to worry about whether you're 7 seed, you are in the mix. You're solidified. Last year, the 7 seed was the Dallas Mavericks, who almost took out the Clippers in the first round. Like the 7 seeds are legit.
You're just playing for the last spot. That's how it should be.
And I think there also needs to be a threshold that gets put in. Like if you look at the Warriors in the 8 versus 9, Grizzlies are only a half game back. Then my idea is, let's say it's 2 games or 2.5 games back. like that's like 2 more wins or 2 more losses. You
Mhm.
make them play in a play-in best-of-3 series, 8 versus 9. But let's say you're up like 5 games against someone. Why should you have to play a team that you're 5 games better than?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what my opinion to make it a little better. But I do think that um, it's kind of been fun because at this point in the season, there's 3 games or 4 games left for each team. We would see teams beginning to rest in the top 6, right? Not anymore, because if you're looking at especially the 2-3, everyone's worried about, oh, I would rather play a team that's a 7 seed that has to play 2 extra games than someone that's a 6 seed that got a whole extra week off during the play-ins.
Yeah.
So that's become more interesting. If you think about the Washington Wizards, they would have gave up on their playoff hunt and tanked because there was no way they was making the playoffs. They've been hunting to get into the top 11. So it narrows down the teams that aren't conceding, like aren't tanking, and then the 6 through 10 has been super interesting. So I like the format. I just don't really think it's fair to a lot of the teams the way it's done, but it does make it a lot more interesting because this point in the season, each game right now is essentially playoffs.
Yeah.
Like your everything at stake is so important right now.
Do you think they'll keep this going to next season?
Yeah, they'll keep it. The money for it will be so good.
How many
Like,
games do we
and-
roughly
and-
have? Like 15
Because you're
games
having
left?
like mini playoffs within the playoffs.
Exactly. So what were you saying, Micah?
How many games are left roughly? Like 15
Bro,
for some?
No.
no,
like
no,
5
3
at
games,
best.
3 or 4.
Wait, so it's no longer 82 games a season?
No, it's the last week. This is the last week of
This
basketball.
Okay.
season was shortened
The
a
the,
lot.
the playing
because
game. What's the date today?
That's the 11th
11th.
of May.
Playing game is next Tuesday. First playing game.
Dang.
Yeah. That's
Like we're
week.
into playoffs.
Yeah.
It's over.
It's like got that not March Madness, but like where each game matters now.
Yeah. And like, dude, the 8, it's like, I don't know, it's like the 8 teams or whatever. Like right now, you would see the San Antonio Spurs shut it down, the Pelicans shut it down, the
Yep.
Grizzlies shut it down because all these teams are still jockeying for position or whatever. So I think it's been really good. Logically, if I was a team on the brink, like a 7 or an 8, I would hate it because I'm better than the other teams. But it does, for the most part, reward the teams that are the best at the time that it's important. Which
Mhm.
sucks because let's say you got to get a guy injured that week, and then he would be able to come back for first round, but now he misses the playing games. But I don't know. It gets the best teams at the best time, the hottest teams in, and it stops kind of the tanking problem a little bit. So I kind of enjoyed it. So I kind of hope they keep it. I think there's a little tweaking it could do, but for the most part, I think it's kind of a dub. Honestly, it makes it a little more fun.
Yep.
And dude, the
with-
NBA takes such a dub with the LeBron versus Curry play-in.
Oh my word.
The only
Like the way
thing they
that's set
missed
up,
out
like,
on,
it's perfect. Adam Silver is just
the
absolute-
one thing that they missed out on was Zion getting his finger injured. They
Yeah.
were just about to take first spot at 10. Your plane would have been LeBron versus Curry, and then John Morant versus Zion,
Yeah.
which was the number 1 versus number
Would've
2
been
pick in the
perfect.
draft. Like literally picture perfect. Yeah.
But unfortunately, no. And then unfortunately for the Celtics, Jaylen Brown's out for the rest of the season because
Ego.
he had surgery or is going to have surgery with some
Yeah.
torn ligament in his wrist or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's tough for
I
them.
I
but
felt
I don't
bad
really
for
care about the
Tristan.
Celtics.
Yeah, Tristan's a Celtics fan, so I feel bad for him. But I was like, hey, bro, realistically, you guys were a 7 seed this year. You couldn't really figure it out. The Nets are the 2 seed. Jaylen Brown's awesome. You guys are a good team, young team, but the Nets are clapping you politely in 5.
Yeah.
Like,
So
it wasn't gonna matter regardless.
right. Now we've talked about the West. With the East.
Yeah,
Do you think it's
with
gonna
the
be a
East.
lot?
It's more clear cut.
It's more clear cut in a sense where you're gonna play the 1 and the 8, and it's just gonna be easy dub.
It's
Like 2 and 7.
So what I would say is the one thing that teams need to watch out for is the Wizards have been really, really hot. It would be really disappointing. They're a 10 seed right now, so they'd have to win 2 games to get in. And one of the teams they have to play the Pacers, who they just lost to. I think they'll beat them. And then they would have
Pacers
to play
are
the loser.
beatable. Pacers aren't that
Yeah.
great.
And then they would have to play the loser of the Celtics versus Hornets. So I think the Wizards should get in. They should get in with how hot they've been, but they're not going to beat a 76ers team. But they could give them like an interesting series. It's not going to be a classic Milwaukee versus Orlando 1 versus 8 5-game series, 4-game series.
Here's what's gonna be
They could take them
interesting.
to 5 or 6.
I think
Huh?
this might be a crazy take, but I think it'll be the Wizards versus the Celtics for the last play-in game. So like I think the Wizards will beat the Pacers, and I think the Celtics will lose to the Hornets, and the Hornets are gonna make it.
I
Okay.
hope the
So it'd
Hornets.
be- I
hope, yeah, I was
I
gonna say
want to see
the basketball
LaMelo.
fan in me wants them to win it. They're a young team
No,
with some.
I want to see
I would
LaMelo in the
rather watch.
playoffs. I don't care.
I would rather see LaMelo in the play-ins and then see the Celtics who could, because bro, the Hornets will not be able to touch the Nets. The Celtics, even without JB, they can maybe give them a game. Like the Hornets will get
Okay, it'd
run
be a
off the
better
floor.
games, but like it's more fun to watch the Hornets.
I understand that, but I think it'd be fun to watch LaMelo in a 1-game situation. But I'd rather just see him. All right, like good rookie year.
Okay,
Outta here.
of this top 6 right now in the East, I think a fun matchup would be like, what do you think a fun matchup would be? Like a
Bro, it's
Heat
kind of
versus
funny how the
Nets?
West and the East compare. You know how I was saying, no, there's kind of a weak 4-5 in the West. Same thing applies
Yeah,
for the 4-5 in the East. The
Knicks
Knicks
and
and Hawks,
Hawks.
they're both real. But like Hawks versus Hornets, let's say Hawks played the Heat, let's say, which is not going to happen. The Heat would beat them. Like the Heat are a team that are playoff ready, but they just couldn't figure it out this season. The Hawks are a team that got hot this season, but aren't playoff ready. They're like role reversal. So you look at the 4-5, the Knicks, Hawks, and then the 6-7. Let's imagine that the Jaylen Brown didn't get injured. The Celtics and Heat are the 6-7, while the Blazers and Lakers are 6-7 on the other side. It's like almost like weirdly the 4-5 got given to teams that aren't really ready to actually make a run. I think that the Bucks Heat series, it's so funny that we're getting it again because last year they choked it away.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see Heat versus Nets first round, but I guess not. So I'm really torn. I think who do you think would win in the Knicks versus the Hawks?
I'd put my money on the Knicks.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Knicks
With
defense.
how
is
hot they've been.
crazy.
I mean, the Hawks have been doing decent stuff. They're 6-4 in their last 10. But I think the Knicks are by far they've got the higher potential for players to have big games than the Hawks do. I think the Hawks will be consistent, but I think the Knicks have players that are going to have the better
Trey Young
potential.
needs to go back to being a shooter and not a guy that just tries to live at the free throw line, bro.
Yeah.
I don't like watching him anymore. It's not fun. He averages like 2.5 threes per game. Last year he averaged like four threes a game. Like,
Yeah.
bro, he just looks for fouls. He doesn't even try to be electric player anymore. He's kind of annoying. The Knicks would be such a good feel-good story to watch them make it past the first round.
Honestly, just to see Stephen
but-
A's reaction, honestly. I don't care about the Knicks. I'd just love to see
Literally.
Stephen A just go
Yeah.
off.
So I'm hoping the Wizards get it done so we get a 76ers versus the Wizards. I think it could be a very exciting 5 or 6 game series depending on how good they play. Probably 6. Nets
Are you
let's
sleeping?
say-
Are you sleeping on any team like you are with the Jazz? Like, are you sleeping on the Sixers or the Bucks right now? 'Cause I feel like I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on the Bucks right now.
See, that's such a hard one to pick, bro. It's so hard because
Bucks
the Bucks
are-
got
The Bucks
they're
are
not- I
gonna their
wouldn't say-
Bucks are gonna
Okay,
come out, bro.
Okay, I'm
You
a
think
huge
so?
Giannis fan.
I feel like
I don't
know.
think the Bucks are going to do anything. They've yet to prove themselves to the playoffs, so I don't think you can put
Doesn't
any
matter,
sort of
bro.
faith in them. Yeah, but like I said, I'm a huge Giannis fan, so therefore I do lean as far as Eastern Conference go. I lean towards the Bucks, and I don't think they're gonna. Unless they
Bro.
prove something else, they're just gonna do the same thing they've done the last 3, 4
Did you guys watch the Bucks versus the Nets, those back-to-back games where the Bucks won both of them and KD kind of choked away a couple of the games and Giannis blocked them and everything. Those games were so interesting. I like the Heat better. I like the fact that every time they play in the playoffs, the Heat just beat up on them. So that's going to be the 3 versus 6. Most likely, it looks like the Hawks could potentially fall down. I hope that doesn't happen because I would rather watch the Bucks versus the Heat than the Nets versus the Hawks or whatever. But like, sorry. Anyways, I messed that one up. Anyways, I'm rooting for the Bucks for the first time. I kind of like the whole choke Giannis. I like that narrative type of thing. But I think I would rather watch a Bucks versus Nets second round than the Heat. I don't know. Both
Just
of them will
start
be
the
very
Heat and the
interesting.
Nets on the first round. That'd be fun, but that might not happen. That won't happen.
No, it'll be Nets versus like Celtics or something, right? But I'm saying the winner of the Bucks versus Heat
In
will
theory,
play the Nets, and I don't know
the Nets
which one would I
could-
rather see. Like I was always thinking the Heat are one of those teams that they don't care who they play, they can maybe beat the Nets. But after watching the Bucks versus that Nets, that mini back to back, oh man, both those games are so fun. I would love to see a full 7-game series of that.
It could still end up being the Nets versus the Heat in the first round because Milwaukee's only a game.
Celtics aren't going to pass the Heat though, especially without Jaylen Brown, and
Right.
the Heat aren't going to drop, and the Heat have the tiebreaker
I'm
too.
saying the Nets would. Well, okay, never mind. They clinch their. Do they clinch? Well, because unless they're done, Milwaukee could catch up to them.
Oh, you're saying the Bucks could catch the Nets.
Yeah,
Oh, you're not wrong because the Bucks have the tiebreaker. The Bucks do have the tiebreaker. So you're not so if they finish with the same record, so basically if the Bucks win one more game than the Nets do the rest of the way, they could switch.
And James Harden isn't back yet, is he? So you mean like
no, not yet. He said he's supposed to be back for like one of the last games or whatever.
So that could also be a possibility.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Who do you think would win in a Bucks versus Heat series?
Bucks versus Heat. Heat.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the final.
Nah, I'd still go with the Bucks.
I think with the addition of Drew Holiday, I really hope that they figured out, because if you traded for Drew Holiday to get bounced in the first round, like at some like you might have to mess around and trade Giannis, bro, at this point.
Yeah.
The only series that you were up 2-0 against the Raptors, and then they won 4 straight, and then you play the Heat and they win 3 straight, and then you win a game when Giannis got injured, and then you lose in 5. Then you trade, bro. They gave up 4 picks and 2 good players for Drew Holiday, and you get bounced in the first round by the Heat, who literally are barely above 500. That would be embarrassing. But I hope for their sake, and Mike Budenholzer has to go too.
You don't like
if they suck this postseason. Yeah, he's so bad in the postseason, bro.
Get him out.
Yeah. Same with Terry Stotts, bro. He's got to go.
You don't like Terry Stotts?
Only Damian Lillard, bro. With that much talent, you can't be this bad. Blazers have almost gotten like.
You're okay. The Blazers are always choked in the playoffs. They always make it to the playoffs and they always choke. But you're telling me Terry, just because of a different coach, they should do better.
Bro, yes. I don't think you realize how much the coach can make a difference. Tom Thibodeau took a Knicks team that almost made no changes from like 11 seed to a 4 seed. The only reason that he's been there is because Damian Lillard has said, Terry Stotts is my guy. I want him here. Best believe the GM does not want Terry Stotts. How long has he been the coach? Like 7 years? They made the measure
something like that.
Yeah, and like, bro, the last 3 years they have not finished as high in the standings as they should have. I understand with injuries, but bro, like
injuries, the Warriors being stacked.
But bro, CJ's been back for like a month, right? And they didn't get hot till like a week and a half ago. Like they almost got worse when CJ came back.
What do you got? Yeah, that's true.
When is
Nurkic has been back for a while.
Yeah,
Nurkic has been playing nice for my fantasy team, man.
He's been nice with it.
I'm gonna win fantasy, hey?
Yeah, again.
Most likely.
I want my own team because
I want my own team. What you talk about? Our joint teams always suck
because we always have completely different takes on which players.
Mike Lutain, if you watch our podcast, said that I could have my own team next year.
Because I don't do anything after we set up our team. I set it up I put up the lineups.
Because we lose the first 4 weeks.
And then Aiden's always sending me trades the very first day we get our picks.
He's like,
and then Steve's telling me, "Don't trade with Aiden."
I'll give you that redhead from Golden State if you give me Giannis.
Yeah, you like that? Yeah, I'm gonna win.
He's always finessing me with the trades. He's always trying to.
I'm pulling away. I think it's over. I'm up 5-2. I'm ahead in. Yeah, it's wraps, boys. It's wraps. I'm the GOAT, man. That's 3 years in a row. I'm the GOAT at fantasy. I don't.
Yeah, because you orchestrate everything. You're like,
well, last year you absorbed your dad's team, didn't you? For the most part.
Okay. Yeah, so this is my first real fantasy victory because the first year I played, I lost to Mike or whatever. The second year I played, I kind of did some trades with my dad. They weren't like robbery. I gave him players. It was like one of those.
They weren't robbery, but they were.
But yeah, like a regular person wouldn't have probably accepted them. It's because I'm in my dad's ear all the time. Like, Dad, and he's like, "Oh, fine, I don't care. You can have them. I'll accept the trade." That's basically what it was. So the first one was kind of phony. The second year, if people don't like it, then they should just do it themselves. But like, you know how I like to finesse people that don't know what they're talking about, like you guys, for example, right?
Yeah.
I like finesse you for like De'Aaron Fox and Donovan Mitchell, right, or whatever. So last year the COVID didn't even finish the season, right? So technically I didn't win, but it gave first place to people in the standings throughout the season instead of, because we didn't have a chance to do playoffs. But if you looked at my roster, like there was no one was touching me. The way I stacked my team was actually like kind of unfair because I finessed so many people. So that one wasn't cheating, but I did finesse people. This year, Steve didn't let me finesse anyone. I made a couple trades that were like smart trades. And then just I picked up good
Smart in
players
your
off the waiver
eyes,
wire.
but like just rip offs to other people.
No, because I tried to make trades and they all got
You tried
vetoed.
making some trades,
But
and
he
Steve,
didn't
Yeah,
get him.
Steve
He
vetoed
didn't get
them.
him.
Yeah, but they vetoed them. That's why this season counts. This is why this one's no question. I just won. Like, bro, if you look at my team, I have so many guys that are off the waiver wire right now. I just pick up good guys that are giving me the things I need each series, like versus Danny or versus Mr. B or Mr. Or Mike. I swap guys. If I have scorers and I know I'm going to be in points, I swap for rebounders. So I'm just a different breed. I should be a GM.
Different breed. You should be.
Let's go. Kyrie got injured though. Oh my gosh, and Bagley got injured, bro. And Beal.
Well, thank you guys. That was a good episode. Hit us up next time when you
Hit us
watch, when you watch the
Hit us up.
podcast. Leave a
To our
comment.
2 faithful viewers or whatever.
Yeah,
it is.
this is now just more fun, you know. Next year we'll go hard at this.
Yeah.
Every other day. Like every day.
No.
It'll be like called game, but like
Dude, my phone is
on the pod.
Yeah, you saw Kenny.